Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Are you satisfied with where you are in life? If your answer is yes, then this message isn't for you. But if your answer is no, if you know deep down that you're capable of more, then listen carefully. The difference between where you are and where you could be comes down to one thing: your standards. Your standards define your life. Think about it. Everything you do, every decision you make, every result you achieve, it all starts with the standards you set for yourself. If you set low standards, you get low results. If you demand more, if you expect nothing less than excellence, you'll find a way to achieve it. But here's the catch: no one is going to raise your standards for you. That's your job. And let me tell you, the moment you raise your standards is the moment your life begins to change. Most people settle for average. Why? Because average is comfortable, it's easy, it's safe. But let me tell you something: average is also the killer of dreams. You weren't put on this earth to be average. You weren't born to settle for a life of mediocrity. If you want to achieve greatness, you need to stop making excuses, stop playing small, and stop settling for anything less than the best. Good enough isn't good enough anymore. You need to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever will. And here's the thing: your standards don't just affect you, they influence everyone around you. When you raise your standards, the people in your life either rise to meet them or they fall away. Either way, you win. Because high standards create a culture of accountability and excellence. They force you and those around you to step up, to stretch beyond what you thought was possible, and to operate at a level that demands respect. But let me make one thing clear: raising your standards isn't just about talking a big game. Words are cheap. Standards mean nothing without action. You have to back them up with relentless, consistent effort. Every single day, you need to show up and deliver. No shortcuts, no excuses, no compromise. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because the world doesn't reward potential, it rewards performance. And performance starts with the standards you set and the actions you take to meet them. When you raise your standards, something incredible happens. The world takes notice. High standards command respect. They attract opportunities. They build credibility and trust. People want to work with you, invest in you, and follow you not because you demand it, but because they see the results you deliver. High standards are magnetic. They set you apart. They make you unstoppable. Your standards define your life in every conceivable way. Think about it. Every action you take, every decision you make, every goal you pursue is guided by the standards you set for yourself. They are the invisible boundaries of your potential, the silent rules that determine how far you'll go and how much you'll achieve. If your standards are low, your results will reflect that. You'll find yourself stuck in mediocrity, constantly making excuses and wondering why success always seems just out of reach. But when you set high standards, something remarkable happens. Your life begins to align with those expectations, and you start achieving things you once thought were impossible. The truth is, most people don't realize the power their standards hold. They go through life settling for less, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they've accepted less as their norm. They've conditioned themselves to believe that good enough is good enough. But let me tell you something: it's not. Good enough is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid the discomfort of growth. It's a crutch we lean on when we're too afraid to face the truth. And the truth is, your life is a direct reflection of the standards you've set. If you want to change your life, you have to change your standards. Raising your standards means taking a hard, honest look at where you are and deciding that you will no longer accept anything less than your best. It's about demanding excellence from yourself, even when no one else does. It's about refusing to settle, even when the world tells you that settling is easier, safer, or more practical. When you raise your standards, you stop making excuses, you stop blaming others, you stop tolerating behaviors, habits, and mindsets that hold you back. You draw a line in the sand and say, this is who I am and this is what I stand for. The beauty of high standards is that they challenge you to rise to the occasion. They force you to step out of your comfort zone, to confront your fears, and to push past your limits. And yes, it's uncomfortable. It's hard, it's inconvenient. But it's also worth it, because every time you hold yourself to a higher standard, you grow stronger. You become more disciplined, more focused, and more determined. You start to see yourself not as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of your destiny. High standards don't just transform your actions, they transform your identity. When you set the bar high, you begin to see yourself as someone who deserves success, someone who is capable of greatness. And that belief is powerful. It shapes how you think, how you act, and how you show up in the world. It becomes the foundation for everything you do. When you operate with high standards, you attract opportunities, build better relationships, and achieve results that others only dream of. But here's the thing, high standards require constant vigilance. You can't set them once and forget about them. They demand your attention, your energy, and your commitment every single day. They require you to hold yourself accountable, to take responsibility for your choices, and to strive for improvement even when it's hard. And that's what makes them so transformative. Because in the process of raising your standards, you become a better version of yourself, a version that is capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. Your standards are not just a reflection of your potential, they are the gateway to your greatness. They define who you are, what you stand for, and what you're willing to settle for in life. And the higher you set them, the higher you'll rise. Stop settling for average. Do you understand what that means? It means stop being content with good enough or the bare minimum. It means stop allowing yourself to coast through life, getting by with the least amount of effort. You were not put on this planet to blend in, to follow the crowd, to be just like everyone else. You were meant to stand out, to achieve extraordinary things, to leave a mark. So why are you settling for a life that's less than you're capable of? Why are you allowing yourself to accept mediocrity when greatness is just within reach? Here's the truth, average is the enemy of excellence. Every time you settle for average, you choose comfort over growth, laziness over progress, mediocrity over excellence. And let me tell you something, comfort is a silent killer. It's the poison that makes you believe that getting by is enough. But getting by isn't enough. It's never been enough. Not for the greats, not for the trailblazers, and certainly not for you. So ask yourself, why are you settling for something less than extraordinary? It's time to wake up. It's time to get real. You have so much more potential locked inside of you than you've ever given yourself credit for. But you're not going to unlock it by sitting back, accepting what's easy, and telling yourself that this is as good as it gets. It's time to break out of that mindset and recognize that you are capable of so much more. You have greatness inside of you, and the only thing standing in your way is your unwillingness to demand more from yourself. Stop making excuses. Stop settling for average results because you're afraid of failure or rejection. If you're not pushing yourself past your limits, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. I think about the people you admire, the people you look up to. They didn't get there by doing the same thing as everyone else. They didn't become extraordinary by following an easy path. No, they achieved greatness by refusing to accept average. They worked when others slept. They pushed forward when others stopped. They stayed hungry when everyone else was satisfied. You can't achieve greatness if you're satisfied with just enough mediocre people make excuses, exceptional people make moves. It's time to step up and stop waiting for the perfect moment. The only moment you have is right now. If you keep waiting for the stars to align, you'll miss the opportunity to build something amazing. You want to be remembered? Then stop being average. Start demanding more from yourself every single day. Don't let a single day go by where you don't give everything you've got. That means showing up even when it's hard, pushing yourself even when you don't feel like it, and working toward your goals even when no one is watching. It's the relentless pursuit of excellence that separates the average from the exceptional. If you want to change your life, if you want to create a life that excites you, it starts with raising the standard. The world doesn't reward average. The world rewards those who push the boundaries, who refuse to settle for the status quo. The people who make history are the ones who get up every single day and demand the best from themselves. Stop looking for the easy way out. Stop making excuses. Step up, take responsibility, and make the kind of decisions that will lead you to a life of extraordinary achievement. Because when you stop settling for average, you unlock a life that is truly exceptional. Your standards influence those around you more than you realize. You may think that your life is your own, that what you do and how you act doesn't affect others, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Whether you like it or not, the energy you project, the bar you set for yourself, and the expectations you carry ripple out and shape the world around you. The people closest to you, the ones you interact with every day, are directly impacted by the standards you maintain. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, they all observe what you accept from yourself, and consciously or unconsciously, they'll mirror that behavior. When you raise your standards, they will either rise to meet them or they'll start to feel uncomfortable with their own complacency. That's the power you have. It's not about trying to force people to change, it's about leading by example. By demanding excellence from yourself, you set a silent challenge for everyone around you to do the same. But here's the harsh reality: when you lower your standards, you drag others down with you. You might not see it, but every time you compromise on your values, settle for less than your potential, or let mediocrity slip in, you signal to the people around you that it's okay to do the same. And before you know it, you've created an environment where average is the norm, where complacency is celebrated, and where everyone is stuck in a cycle of self-imposed limitations. That's the trap of low standards. It doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone you interact with. On the other hand, when you hold yourself to a high standard, you create a culture of growth and accountability. You raise the level of expectation in every room you walk into. People can't help but be inspired by your work ethic, your discipline, and your commitment to excellence. They'll start to ask themselves, if they can do that, why can't your standards become a mirror, reflecting back to them the possibility of what they too can achieve? It's a ripple effect. By becoming the best version of yourself, you raise the potential of everyone around you. You challenge them to step out of their comfort zones and to take ownership of their own lives. You create an environment where growth is not only encouraged, but expected. When you raise your standards, you become the catalyst for change in your circles. You stop waiting for others to inspire you, and you take the responsibility to be the one who inspires. And that's what real leadership is. It's not about titles or positions, it's about the power to influence, to lead by example, and to create a culture of excellence wherever you go. You don't have to say a word for it to happen. Your actions, your attitude, your results speak louder than anything else. So understand this, the people around you are watching. They're looking for someone to challenge them, someone to show them what's possible. And that person could be you. Your standards don't just impact your own life, they have the power to elevate those around you to heights they never thought possible. But it starts with you. Raise the bar, lead by example, and watch as the people you care about rise alongside you. Raising your standards means nothing unless you back it up with relentless action. You can talk all day about how you're going to achieve greatness, but if your actions don't match your words, you're just fooling yourself. Let me tell you something right now, the world doesn't care about your intentions, your plans, or your potential. It only cares about results. And results come from one thing: relentless action. When you set high standards for yourself, it's easy to get excited in the beginning. You set your goals, you make your plans, and you tell everyone how you're going to change your life. But here's the harsh reality: it's easy to get motivated when things are new, when you're pumped up and the adrenaline is flowing. But when the excitement wears off, when the road gets tough, when challenges come at you from all directions, that's when the real test begins. That's when your standards are truly put to the test. Action is the great separator. It's the difference between talking a big game and living up to it. You don't get to decide how easy or hard life is going to be, but you do get to decide how much you're going to give. You get to decide whether or not you're going to show up every single day, whether or not you're going to push through the discomfort the fatigue, the failures. And here's the brutal truth: you're going to fail. You're going to stumble. You're going to face setbacks that will make you question everything you're doing. But that's the point. That's the test. Relentless action means getting up again and again, even when you don't feel like it. It means pushing through when everyone else around you is slacking off, making excuses, or quitting. It means holding yourself to the highest standards, even when there's no one around to watch, no one around to clap for you. It's you alone, grinding through the work because you know where you're going. You know the prize that's waiting for you at the end of this journey, and that's all that matters. Success isn't built on bursts of energy, on one or two heroic efforts. It's built on daily, relentless action. You don't just take the first step and stop. You don't just make one big push and think that's enough. Every day you need to show up, you need to deliver, you need to stay consistent. That's how you build real momentum. It's not about doing things once and then sitting back and hoping for results. It's about doing things over and over again, even when you don't see immediate results. Even when you feel like you're putting in all this effort and nothing is changing. But trust me, change is happening. Every time you push yourself to act, every time you refuse to quit, every time you do the work when no one else is watching, you're building a foundation that will carry you to greatness. And guess what? When you're consistent, when you push through every obstacle, when you relentlessly keep moving forward, you become a force that cannot be stopped, a force that draws success to you because it has no choice but to follow you. So when you raise your standards, don't just talk about them. Don't just tell people how high you're aiming. Show them. Show them by the work you put in, by the results you deliver, by the discipline you live with every single day. Relentless action is what will transform your standards from ideas into reality. And if you want to be the best, if you want to make an impact, if you want to leave a legacy, then this is the only way forward. No excuses, no shortcuts, just relentless, nonstop action toward your goal. So here's the bottom line: raising your standards means nothing if you're not willing to take relentless action. It's not enough to dream big, to set goals, or to talk about success. You've got to get your hands dirty, show up every day, and put in the work, no matter what. The world doesn't reward people for what they say, it rewards them for what they do. So ask yourself, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you ready to make your actions match your ambitions? You have the power to change everything. But it all starts with you taking that first step and then continuing to take it over and over again. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it doesn't exist. Our time is now. Raise your standards, take relentless action, and refuse to stop until you get there. Because if you do, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Now go out there and show the world what you're made of.